Hi folks, in this video I'm going to give you tips on how to get through the tutorial for Builders of Egypt Prologue. That's right, I said tips on how to get through the tutorial. And the reason I say that is there is a couple of glitches and some places you can get hung up. And I just want to make sure it's smooth sailing for you. Now I've called this the Builders of Egypt Prologue. And when I downloaded the game from the Steam Workshop, it was actually called a demo. Now, from what I understand, Prologue and demo are one and the same right now when it comes to the Builders of Egypt game. Now, if I happen to be wrong about that, please correct me by commenting below. I'm sure we're all trying to figure things out right now about this game because it hasn't even been released yet. So feel free to correct me if I say something wrong at any time during this video. It may be fun for you to watch me say things wrong, but for me, it's kind of like walking around with your pants down when you start posting this stuff on YouTube and saying it over and over again. So you're doing me a favor if you correct me. So before we even get into the game, I want to give you some tips, and it has to do with the settings. Now, just so you know, I'll click on the settings, and when it comes to audio, in case you're not hearing any music or background, I've turned the master volume down so that you can hear my voice. I'm going to click on keyboard and mouse. It says keybind here, but I'm pretty sure it's referring to keyboard. And I want to talk about the keyboard settings because this will make your journey just a lot quicker in doing the tutorial and playing the game. So there's a few things here like move backward is S and move left is A if you're using a PC. And I'm using a PC, so that's what I tend to refer to the most. And one thing I really wanted to point out, because this will help you later, is R is for rotate. So there, we've answered that question. R is for rotate. So we'll go back. And there's two options here. It looks like one says sandbox and the other one says campaign. So as far as I know, sandbox is where the developer plays around and does their programming and do so without affecting the game. Whereas campaign is where we really do all our playing. It's really by definition a continuing storyline or set of adventures. So we're going to click on campaign. And then we click on new campaign. So I'll type in tutorial. And why don't I call it, well, I'll just call it tutorial. And we'll hit over in the bottom right hand corner, hit enter. So here we are, a glorious capital for Kemet. The ruler of Upper Egypt, King Narmer, has conquered Lower Egypt and united the kingdom on the Nile. Now the country needs capital, probably needs a capital. King Aha, oh, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, I hope I am. Narmer's successor sends you to Memphis, otherwise called Eneb-Hej, to supervise the construction of this magnificent city, there I got that word out, a political, administrative, and religious center, which will become home to the royal family. And thanks to you, its monumentality will strengthen its authority. In other words, its massiveness and imposingness will strengthen its authority. So basically, it's your job to start the city and supervise the construction. The winning conditions are we have to gather 5,000 units of bread, we have to export 1,000 units of bricks, gather 1,000 units of pottery, and gather 75 dwellers. I've set it on easy. I think you could set it on medium. You can't access difficult right now, but I've set it on easy so we can start the game. All right, let's hit start. The game is loading, it's ready to start, and on the right hand side is scrolling a history of Egypt, and I think in particular a history of the city of Memphis. I'm not going to go over that. You can read that at your leisure. I'm going to hit start. Eneb-Hej, a glorious capital for Kemet. Glorious capital for Kemet. Here are the winning conditions in case we forgot. I haven't forgot, so we'll turn that off. So the tutorial is the box essentially in the top right hand corner that says basic information. This short tutorial is intended for the early access version and will be expanded as the game develops, but let's get started. In ancient Egypt, the idea of currency was unknown. People were paid with bread and beer. To simplify the mechanics, treat these resources as the cost of placing buildings and exchanging wares. You can find their icons in the top panel. Up here we got 16,500 bread and no beer. You can get bread and beer mainly from trading and collecting taxes, but these are not a reliable source of income. So make sure you do not run out of them, because in such a situation you will not be able to further develop your settlement. So that is a point we have to remember. The next thing is, a settlement development should start by designing a grid of streets, and it's telling us exactly where to build those streets in case we didn't know. So next thing we got to do is build roads. So we click on the flashing house and road icon, and the only thing we can build right now is road. So it's red there, which tells me they don't want me to have a road there. Oh, it turns green. So I'm going to left click with my mouse and just drag it across. Oops, and only go as far as they want me to. Did that work? There, that worked. And then I'll just complete the rest of the roads that they're telling me I have to have. So it's pretty easy. We're being directed what to do right now, which is good. It's a tutorial and it's a new game, so we need that type of advice and guidance. Makes it easy. And I'll just complete putting in the remaining road that it says we have to have. So there's one there, and I think I got another piece right over here. Go down that way. And then down here, and I think this is the last chunk of road I got to build. Oh, and that was the last chunk of road I had to build. Next up, we need to select a house from the building list and place it next to a road. So houses and other buildings have to be adjacent to a road for them to work. So again, we click on the flashing house and road icon. And this time it's a house. We only got one to choose from, so we'll do like that. And we'll pick 1, 2. There we go. Wants 8 of them to start by the looks of it. And we did it. And I right click just to get rid of that. So now we have a house, the buildings are placed. This will encourage immigrants to settle in your city. It has sufficiently high levels of satisfaction, which, as you will notice later in the game, is not easy to achieve. The arrival of the first inhabitants is announced by a message in the bottom right hand corner. Oh, we have incoming dwellers. I'll click on the message. We have incoming dwellers. So here come our dwellers or inhabitants. They're walking their way, and I guess they picked their own houses. Anyway, they're coming in, and remember that you can always demolish a building. Refund depends on the level of difficulty. Note that removing buildings at a later stage can be tricky, as you could shatter the delicate economic balance. Let's practice demolition. That sounds good. There's a hammer down here, and that the demolition icon, and it wants us to demolish this little road here. So we've done that. And next up is our dwellers need to be protected against fires. So we need to select a fire station from the building list and put it near your existing buildings. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not much of a historian, but I don't remember in history or any movies I've seen about ancient Egypt anybody talking about a fire station. In any event, the game requires one, so we have to build one. So we go down to the flashing administrative building icon, and we click on the flame, which is a fire station, and they want us to build it right there, and this is when it gets cranky. So right now the building's red, which means we can't place it. It has to turn green. And notice where the arrows are, and this is where the R for rotate comes in. So I press R, and it turns around, and now it's facing the road so that the access points to the building face the road, and I can build my fire station. Wow, it's even got flashing lights and everything. That's what it looks like. Alright, right click to get rid of that icon. So under building information in the top right hand corner, to continue the tutorial, note that after clicking on the fire station range icon in the bottom right corner, a filter will appear. Now I don't know about the bottom right hand corner because that's where my message center is, But what I am going to try is clicking on the fire station itself to see if it gives me a limit, and you can see a flashing red circle, so I would assume that that is the area of influence or the coverage area for that particular fire station. And I guess I better hit escape or something to get out of this. Not sure how to close this icon. Alright, I'm going to try hitting escape and hopefully it won't torpedo the tutorial. There, escaped, worked. So we've covered that. So this building protects other buildings from fire, but remember that the effectiveness of the protection reduces as the distance increases, so that's like any fire station today. It's a good idea to build a fire station relatively small distances from each other for better coverage. Better coverage results in fewer fires and reduces the consequences. That all makes sense. It's high time to look at the buildings you have constructed. Use the right mouse button to select a house. Details of the building will be displayed and things will be listed like current warnings, name of the building, and so on. So it said right click on a house. So let's zoom in here and right click on a house. And I get nothing. So on my computer, I have to left click on a house, and that's when the house information screen comes up. And I guess this is where it tells me I've got 5 out of 5 dwellers. I've got 5 available workers. So in this case, it looks like all the dwellers are also workers. And that's one of the things I was confused about. If all inhabitants are dwellers and all dwellers are workers, because those terms seem to be interchangeable throughout this, but this sort of clarifies it anyway when it comes to dwellers and workers. 0% chance of fire, doesn't seem to be any risk of collapse, and everybody's healthy, so that looks good. And we'll carry on. So note that each house has its own range, which determines the maximum distance to the building which a dweller can work. In the case of hard-to-reach workplaces such as mines, it's worth considering building a work camp, which is mostly a self-sufficient unit. So it looks like we don't have to build a work camp just yet. Alright, let's carry on with the tutorial. In order to upgrade the house, or a house, I guess is what they're referring to, or maybe it's houses plural, the well should be placed in accordance with the requirements we have just observed, which I guess is it's got to be placed near houses and adjacent to a road. So we'll build a well. So it's asking us to build a well, and it's showing us exactly where to build it. So we'll build it right there. And we've built a well. The house will now be upgraded, and it looks like the houses plural have now been upgraded to wonderful, some from things that look like beehives to, I'm not sure what that is, but it's I guess there's some huts of some kind. Anyway, the houses will now be upgraded, and they have to be by the road and meet all the conditions. Now remember, there's something, if there is something missing from the previous level, in the next level of the house will be degraded to the previous level after a while. That sounds a little confusing, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. So next up is a panel on the production chain. So each city needs an organized production for its growth, starting from the production of basic resources necessary for the upgrades of the houses. So we have to build a clay pit in the available space, making sure that it is within the range of the houses and there is a road nearby. Well, we'll make sure there's a road adjacent to it. And it continues to go on that manufacturing products may involve more than one building within the production chain. You will find information about the building by right-clicking on it. I'm going to guess it's by left-clicking on it. And not all resources and wares can be obtained by yourself. You will often have to make a trade with other cities. Okay, so let's build a clay pit, and it's got to be the flashing icon, which is ware production, and of course clay pit. And it doesn't turn green, so let's hit R for rotate, and that did it again. Boy, that R for rotate is really handy. And we've just built a clay pit. Click on the subscribe button below right now so you don't miss out on great tips on how to play Builders of Egypt. I also have some awesome videos on the city building game City Skylines. So smash that subscribe button and click on the bell to see more great videos in the city building genre. So it looks like the production chain is getting just a little bit more complicated. Note that each building requires workers to be assigned from their homes. Production buildings have a minimum number of employees below which they don't start working, and with a maximum number of employees, production reaches 100%. So basically, a minimum, below that they don't work, and you can only go up to a certain amount. Keep an eye on the workforce in the settlement by building new houses. The production of wares may require the construction of more than one building within the production chain. You will find information about the building by right-clicking on it. Yep, and I'm going to guess it's left-clicking. Next up in the production chain is a stockpile, and finished wares are collected by employees of the stockpile and stored there, and let me guess, it gets placed by a road. There's the flashing icon for administrative buildings. And we build a stockpile, and it goes in right there. Note that the stockpile does not have a predefined range and can pick up orders from the other end of the map. Therefore, you can control the stockpile policy by clicking the right mouse on the building. So I'm going to click the left mouse on the building, and this looks like this is our stockpile. And this is where we can control the stockpile policy. So it looks like these are things we can export or import, I take it. And it shows how much we have. We have 200 units of bread out of a total capacity of 4,800 units. So I'm not going to play around with that too much just yet. Production chain. Well, there's more of a production chain. To complete one typical production chain, build a brick maker. The manufactured bricks are one of the most popular tradable wares in the game. Okay, let's build a brick maker, and it's under the ware production. Of course, it's the only thing we can click on in the tutorial, and we've built a brick maker. Now under basic information now in the tutorial it says some production buildings require specific conditions or locations. Wells must be built by the river, quarries by the hills, and woodcutters require forests, which may be depleted if you devastate the entire woodland. So they're warning us, don't cut down all the trees. Oh, more about the production chain. Remember that buildings within a single production chain must have been connected to the same road network in order to be able to supply each other with products using the stock. Roads are used mainly by stockpile and granary workers, so keep roads connected if you want to transport wares in an efficient way. So that just means we have to have a continuous road network, make sure everybody is connected. That sounds easy enough. The inhabitants need food to improve their houses. As before, we need to create another production chain. Each subsequent upgrade of the house has its own different requirements. You can check them in the house information card, and we can do that later. Oh, it's time to build a fishing wharf. And once again, it's telling us exactly where to build the fishing wharf, so let me guess, I click on the flashing icon. In this case, it's a food production icon. There's a fishing wharf, and we'll place it right there, and immediately the screen bounces over here to, I assume, the next thing that we need to build. Okay, let's build that granary. It should be easy enough. Click on the icon and put it exactly where it's asking us to put it, and let me guess, I gotta hit R for rotate, and that works. And kaboom, I've got a granary. The food from the granary is distributed through bazaars. If the bazaar is supplied with wares, the inhabitants will continue to deliver them to their houses. So it sounds like the production chain is the food in the granary is distributed to the bazaars, and the bazaars distributed to the houses, if I understand that correctly. So now we build a bazaar. And again, I'm not having any luck first time up with placing these things. Okay, I'll hit rotate again. And now it'll let me build. So that's it. I don't need to build another one just yet. The finished wares can be used to build a monument if the mission requires it, or it can be traded away. To do this, you need to set up a trade route. So click on the region map icon on the top bar. Okay, the region map is flashing right up at the top. And my screen went white there for a little while. And this looks like the overall region map. And looks like these have the no can do signs, and Abydos looks like the only city we can trade with at the moment. So this is our city, which apparently is on the Nile, at the mouth of the Nile. I'm assuming. I don't know geography of the area very well. And down here is Abydos. So you're on the region map. You'll find your settlement on the map, which we did. You can only make contacts with some of them at the beginning of the game, but this situation may change. So that's fine, and I'll right click on the selected settlement. I'd almost bet a paycheck that it's a left click to see what is trading and check the other parameters, such as diplomacy and whatnot. If you want to return to your settlement, click again on the region map. So if I click on that, maybe if I zoom in a little closer, I just needed to click on the city itself, by the looks of it, or the village itself of Abydos. So to open a trade route, select Abydos, which I've now done. This is currently the only city you can trade with. Then click the confirm open trade route. So the up and down arrow is the open a trade route. Open the trade route will cost us 200 bread. Well, sounds expensive, but it's our only trading option. So we said okay. The trade route has been opened. From time to time, a trader or a ship will come to the city to exchange their wares. At the beginning of each year, the amount of purchase wares is reset. If a trader exchanges all his goods during the year, he will not arrive again until the next one. So you must first determine whether you want to import, export, or do nothing. The default option blocks the possibility to both import and export. To change it, click the economy icon. So I don't think we want to change anything. We just set up a trading route. So next, it's asking us to click on the economy icon, which is the scale, balancing scales here, the economy tab. So we'll click on that. The goods you already produce and you can export to Abydos are bricks. So bricks are here. And change your policy on bricks to export. So if this is bricks, if I go over to there's import, there's export. So I'll click on the right hand arrow. There, excellent. If you want to keep bricks in a specific stockpile, you can set it in its options on the information card. Well, we're exporting bricks, so that's good. Knowing the basics of the game, you can focus on completing the mission. To recall the conditions of victory, go to the General tab, which would be over here. Click on there, click on mission description, and of course we have to gather bread up to, well, we got lots of bread, but that's our money. We have to export bricks, a total of 1,000 units, gather pottery, 1,000, and reach 75 dwellers. And there is the conditions of success. These are the most essential rules of the Builders of Egypt game. The tutorial will be expanded and new elements as the game, or with new elements as the game develops. So that makes sense. Okay, let's close the economy tab. So we've done that. And we can close the region map, which is there. And there's that bright white flash of light. And it looks like we have now completed the tutorial. We haven't completed the mission, but we have completed the tutorial. So I think this is a good place to end this session. If you have any questions, please note them in the comments below, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Once again, if I've made any mistakes, please point them out to me by noting again in the comments below, because Lord knows I'm not perfect. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. If you haven't done so already, clobber that subscribe button below and click on the bell so you don't miss out on great tips and how to complete the first mission in the Builders of Egypt Prologue. Click on that box in the lower left hand corner now to see a video you're almost guaranteed to love. This video was selected just for you by YouTube, and they know what you like, so what are you waiting for? Click on the box now and sit back, relax, and enjoy another video.